Hello and welcome to I Want to Grow, and I Want to Grow is all about that, right? We all want to grow, but this is something a little bit different. We are celebrating 90 years of the British Council, and that's pretty special. And today we have a wonderful guest. We have Maha. Maha, please introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Hello, my name is Maha Alshebani. I'm part of Sheikha Mayassa bint Hamad Al Thani's office, chairperson of Qatar Museums and Cultural Hubs here in Qatar. I'm part of the Years of Culture initiative, and I'm the current focal point for the Qatar-UK relations.
That's quite big, right? That's a lot of responsibility.
Yes. Very proud to have that responsibility.
Very proud. And I think that sums up anybody that lives in Qatar. We're all very proud. And what you're doing is magnificent, by the way, with the museums here in Qatar and what it does for their heritage and everybody's heritage. They celebrate everyone in the world. When did you start with the museums?
So I started in Qatar Museums about 5 years. I worked in the strategy department, then in the international cooperation department. But I was always intrigued by the Years of Culture initiative specifically. And about 2 years ago, I got the opportunity to move and work with them. So it's been about 2 years now that I've worked with the Years of Culture initiative. When I joined, it was the 2023 Year of Culture with Indonesia. And last year we had the Year of Culture with Morocco. So I got to experience both those amazing cultures.
And I love what you did in Mia Park with the where you walked into had coffee or had their tea, Moroccan tea.
The Dar al-Maghrib.
Oh my word,
yes.
That was really good.
The Dar al-Maghrib was one of our core activations in the Year of Culture with Morocco. And it was a space for us to be able to welcome creatives, but also welcome Moroccan heritage into the space. We had the fashion show there, the Kaftan fashion show. And it was just such a gorgeous night where all of these creatives came into Qatar and brought in the Moroccan heritage, the Moroccan style and Moroccan fashion, and got to share it with the people of Qatar.
I literally, and bringing up somebody yesterday was sat in the chair where you're sitting right now. He's from Texas. And it was the first time that he'd come to Qatar, first time. Mm-hmm. And he could not stop talking about the Museum of Islamic Art. Mm-hmm. He said it was just mind-blowing. He said it was probably one of the best man-made structures that he's ever seen.
Yeah, the museum is amazing. It's one of the first museums that opened here in Qatar, all the way back in 2008, I believe. And a lot of our major exhibitions happen there. It's such a it's such an open space that gives room for everyone to have their sort of history and their culture there, to be able to express it. The exhibition rooms are amazing. There's always something new going on in the gallery spaces there. Oh,
unbelievable. I remember bringing over so many students to there, and it was just one of the highlights of the trip. But the museums do so much for Qatar, really, because it's not just one museum. How many museums have you got there now?
So many. Over the years, they've just developed so gorgeously, and they've become spaces where people are welcome to come into. We have lots of different activations, and we also have creative hubs like M7, where we're sat right now, and different cultural entities. Not because the creative sector and the cultural sector, it's not just museums. There's so many different spaces for people to come and experience Qatari culture and experience the people of Qatar's cultures, the people here who are residents that have grown up here, who have their own stories, who have their own perspectives. So these spaces give room to everyone to be able to come and tell their own story.
Tell their own story and also be educated. The museums do just that, right? They educate us all. the amount of visits that I've had, and now I even start reading the plaques so that I understand a little bit more with everything. And I love what the museums that you've done in 𝗪𝗡. And there were, I remember being told by one of my friends, Brian, you've got to go there. And I was like, really? I didn't even know that there was museums in 𝗪𝗡. But you've got some, and we spoke with I can't remember the gentleman's name, but we were talking about the slavery museum. Is it
Mr. Hafid?
We were talking about this and how everybody speaks about it, and not so much it's a highlight, but it's an educational process that just puts us makes a picture very clear, and how people had to deal with it there in those days. But it fantastic what you do. And my particular favorite is the sports museum.
I wonder why.
I just thought that with we had a sports podcast, but I just want to keep on going back there, and I never get fed up of going back there, and then get all the highlight and just seeing so many. There's so many things that you missed the first time, and that you were probably being distracted with, but then you can go through all of it and see the history and the where the football came from and all that kind of stuff. And it was really good to celebrate the batons.
It's one of those things that really brings people together. The room that has the torches for all of the different
torches, not
games.
Batons.
Yeah. That room is amazing because it makes you feel like these are literally from all around the world. We all come together as people to, play these games, to come together to celebrate each other's cultures, and that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, the museum is there to celebrate that friendship that is built based on sports, but also based on people from around the world.
Do you have to pinch yourself sometimes, the job that you're having to do?
Very often. The Years of Culture program in itself is a very unique program, in my opinion. It's very tailored every year to the partner country that we have. So how it works is that from the beginning of each year in January, we work with one partner country, and we work with them to the end in December. And throughout that calendar year, we have different activations that happen. We have exhibitions internationally, we have artist exchanges, we have research programs, we have photography journeys, we have things related to sport, activations related to sport, because there's also this misconception that your culture and your cultural identity is specifically art. And it's not that. It's so many different aspects, right? Who we are is based on what we wear, what we eat, what kind of music we have, what kind of sports we play. All of these different things play a part in making up our cultural identity. And so celebrating those specifically together and sharing that with people from the partner countries is really important. It gives us exposure on a human level, on a societal level. It's not just big companies coming into work. We do work with partners from all across Qatar, and we try to bring them together to be able to contribute to these initiatives internationally and give them room and platform to be able to reach these audiences. But at the end of the day, we're focusing on people and having their stories be told and their stories be shared. And I've had that growing up being biracial. I've been able to see my different parts of my family interact with each other and how they perceive the other cultures. And I think that's what makes the program so unique. It's giving Qatari society and people of Qatar the opportunity to perceive that and to have that sort of interaction.
Yeah, and that does create respect also, right?
Definitely.
We respect one another's culture.
When we understand each other, we can respect.
Exactly. But with these types of things that you're doing, and as you said, you've got quite a few areas that you work in. You're doing so much with bringing these cultures together. That must be exciting. From the start of the journey to what the expectations were before they come here, to what they've learned on that trip, that must be exciting in itself.
Definitely, and we've worked throughout the years we've had, because it's been going on for now more than a decade. It started back in 2012, the Years of Culture, and as we've moved forward and had successful activations, we've repeated them and made them annual programs so that people get to experience it again. We've had programs that might just be for that country based on whether it's part of their crafts, whether it's based on their country specifically, but we do have ones that go out annually. Like we have one of my favorite activations is the photography journey. And what it is we get photographers from Qatar to go to the partner country, and most of them often haven't been to that country before, so it's literally their first impressions. And then you get to see through the exhibition that happens afterwards, you get to see through their lens literally what their first impression of that country is. You get to see the things that they focused on as artists, and you get to see the things that attracted their attention. And at the same time, they get to interact with locals from that country, so they get to learn about that culture and sort of in a way capture their first impressions of what those people might hold dear to them.
I was lucky, another privileged, in fact, Khalid Al-Abaidli from the fire station. And when we were talking, it's fascinating, but he's now become a friend every time I see him. And literally, he's in charge of a certain section, but he's there. He's at the grassroots all the time. He's a photographer himself, an artist himself, and he's trying to get more people embraced in it. And I think that's what Qatar does. And I think what you're doing especially is when you're bringing artists from all over the world, when you're working with the British Council, this is kind of things that you're doing. This is something that's going to be, it's going to have a legacy forever.
Definitely. And legacy is a big part of what we're doing now. The Years of Culture, once it started in 2012 and we decided to have it annually, the first partner country that we had after Japan in 2012 was the UK in 2013. And until today, it was one of our most successful years of cultural exchange, in the sense that there was almost 100 different activations that happened in Doha and in the UK. And they're constantly unforgettable activations that happened. We had the Damien Hirst exhibition in Qatar. It was his first solo exhibition in the Middle East back in 2013. We had Patrick Doyle, the conductor, work with Qatar Philharmonic on a musical concert. Amazing things that happened here in Qatar, amazing activations that happened that were open for people and welcoming them to come and experience this sort of merge of Qatari society and Qatari talent with British talent. And then at the same time, we had activations in the UK as well. And as someone who was not yet working, I was a student at the time, but for me to go there and experience that and be able to, we had the Pearls exhibition in the Victoria and Albert Museum. And for me, that was just such a monumental moment because pearls do make up such a critical key aspect of Qatari history and heritage. It was what the economy was based on. So to have that celebrated in a way internationally at such a key institution as the Victoria and Albert Museum, to have it there in Qatar's name, to see historically where these pieces ended up, to see how they moved through the world historically. It was just such a monumental moment that I think creates pride in national identity and creates just this merge of cultures.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when you say about the pearls being the heritage, and this is what their livelihood, and you see them now, it's kind of reflected in everything that they do, because it's very much Qatar wants to keep that culture, wants to keep that kind of going. So when you look at it, they were very humble, hardworking, work ethic was always there. Humble, hardworking. They haven't changed. Just because they've got oil and gas, they haven't changed. And they're trying to, and this is the one thing that I envy your position, is the things that you're doing with Sheikha Mayassa right now is just creating so much more. So each day, the next generations and people that visit here can see that culture, can see the transformation.
Definitely, I think because, so our program, now that we've had over a decade of doing so, and we have so many different partners and we've established so many different connections, especially with the British Council, most relevantly, that it was established during the 2013 Years of Culture. They were our cultural counterparts for the year. They would give us guidance and cultural context to be able to do these initiatives. And I think these are the relationships that we need to ensure are developed. It's not, the one thing that we try to ensure is that not just after the partner year ends, that means the relationship ends. This is just the foundation work. We're here to build these relationships and keep them ongoing, and to build legacy programs that are ongoing regardless of who's in the institution, but just the institutions working together and having that relationship to build sustainable programs that will benefit and give opportunities to people coming forward. We have lots of students now moving and being interested in the arts, and we want to encourage that more to ensure that they feel proud to move forward into the art and culture scene.
Yeah, the knowledge sharing that you're doing is just unbelievable. And we're celebrating 90 years of the British Council. They've been here since 1972. And I didn't know, to be quite honest with you, I suppose I'm a typical guy from the UK that didn't really know too much about the British Council. I knew that they did a role, probably doing the English testing, etc., etc. I didn't know a great deal. How wrong my impression of them, how wrong I was, because they and I said this in so many podcasts right now. They started creating ripples, but now they're waves. The way that they've interacted with people's lives. You're talking about the Philharmonic Orchestra here in Qatar, and I remember sitting with Dr. 𝗙ecie, and he was saying how all this sharing of knowledge and people coming together, different cultures, especially from the UK, helped him write musical pieces about pearl diving. And it wasn't something, it was only because of those relationships and the way that he learned off of other people that he could translate what he's learned from the diving, the pearls, and put it into music. And that's what I see here. And again, with what you're doing at the museum is phenomenal. But it doesn't stop there. You're trying to, I was going to say to you, one of the things I was going to ask you, how do you keep on looking at what you've got to do next, and how do you keep that excitement levels up, and how do you keep yourself fresh? And is it difficult?
Not at all. It's not difficult at all. In fact, we often have brainstorming ideas where we have to say, okay, wait, calm down, everyone. We need to put logical steps, because we have such a team of creative people, passionate people that genuinely care about preservation of cultural heritage, that also at the same time are very passionate about contemporary artists. And we've built all of these networks that we want to give opportunity to this artist and to this musician, and so we always try and sit down and how can we benefit our connections the most? How can we benefit society the most? So we don't find it hard at all. We try to attend as many things as we can, learn from partners, learn from regional partners, international partners, see and like you were saying, sort of learn and then project it in our experience and give our perspective and sort of use our voices to add to the conversation. So to answer your question, I don't think at all we've got a problem.
It was one of those that I knew the answer. I just wanted you to shine, and it's not difficult to shine. I think what you're doing with the museums is incredible, and what it does for other people. One of the things I'm going to say, when you're looking for individual artists or musicians, I would love to be in that room when you're actually breaking it to them that this is what we're going to do for you. Because that must be
that's the fun part.
Oh, dear me. But it must be a very moving
definitely
moment.
It's also such a moving moment when you get to the finish line and you're at an exhibition and you see the artist in their element, explaining their concept and explaining their piece and the story behind it, and you see the passion in their eyes explaining that. That's just the most gratifying thing.
I think what you're doing is you're creating the space for them to be these special people. And the one thing, and I've seen some of these special artists, the musicians, and they're so humble. They just want to help and teach that next generation, and they want to guide and support. And I think that's another area that again, it's those ripples, the ripples that we're creating. You're very much, sorry.
No, it's fine. But yeah, just to build on that, the development of the Years of Culture program has been specifically, that's one of the most things that we've been able to celebrate and say that we've gone on to achieve. It's not just a project now, it's more of a platform. And the entire platform is based on connecting these major entities across the UK, across Qatar, and internationally. So not only building that platform in Qatar, but taking it into an international audience and being able to celebrate those same individuals internationally and having them be able to work with creatives abroad. And whether it's learning a new craft, or whether it's learning new technique, or whether it's learning about a new color palette, a new language that might impact. All of those things are really celebrated in the Years of Culture program. And the friendships that are made, even if they're on a personal level,
they're great. You see great friendships. I've seen so many things that happen, that bonds that are going to last a lifetime. And it's kind of, I try to get those things over sometimes, that saying the right words or welcoming somebody with a smile or a handshake can have such a major impact that could last with you forever.
Definitely.
You've got your father's from Qatar, your mother's from the UK. So working with the British Council, that must be perfect for you.
Yes. I think growing up with my mixed background really gave me an opportunity to see how both my families interact with each other. So my family from the UK would come over to Qatar, seeing their reaction to how Qatar develops and seeing them interact with my Qatari family and the questions that come up and the areas of intrigue that come up and how they perceive each other. And most beautifully is how they built respect for each other. Even if language is a barrier, my grandmother from my mum's side could only speak English, and my grandmother from my dad's side could only speak Arabic. But somehow they always found a way to be able to interact and to laugh and to, respect each other, coming into each other's homes, understanding each other without saying a word. That was always so beautiful. And I think that my job and my work with the Years of Culture program gives me an opportunity to extend that to people in the arts and culture scene and to be able to have them interact with people that, again, we might not understand their language, we might not understand their traditions 100%, but we are able to share that sort of warmth with them and to have space to explore creative initiatives together.
I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I lived in Qatar now for 16 years and I'm very poor at speaking Arabic. And it's been one of those things I've tried many times and I've struggled, but it's never held me back. The language, as you said, the language has never held me back. The friendships that I've made that I'm going to live with for the rest of my life is quite considerable here. And language has never been a barrier. And I hope that we get that over today, because you don't have to let that to be an excuse. What you've just got to do is embrace. What you've got to do is just learn from one another. And I think that's the magic. What's the steps for you now? You've got lots of things that's going on. What are the next things that's coming up for you right now?
There are certain things in the future that we're hoping to keep as a surprise.
Yeah.
So for speaking from the UK perspective, back in 2013, one of our oldest Year of Culture, but as I was saying, we're trying to keep legacy programs ongoing. We don't want the relationship to sort of subdue at the time. So we're hoping to be able to move forward, bringing those same relationships that we established in the Year of Culture and building on them even further. There's so much potential between Qatar and the UK now, that there's so many students in Qatar, Qatari students that are based in the UK. There's so many academics and institutions here in Qatar that are British. There's so much room for us to be expanding more into that and leaning more into the great relationship between Qatar and UK. And I'm with you 100%. I think we need to bring more businesses from the UK. Definitely.
I think that people need to realize what quality of life, and we've helped hundreds of companies come here to establish. And the thing that everybody says is the quality of life.
Definitely the quality of life, and also the embracing people from around the world. Qatar is very diverse in its population. And I think that there's already so many people from England living here, and so many different countries, of course. But
I like to. Qatar has a special place in its heart for the UK, which I'm very proud of, and I think that but it's like all relationships, you've got to work at them, and I think that's what we've got to do.
Not to be biased, but
not to be biased, of course, not to be biased, not to be biased, but it is a really nice thing to be part of.
Yeah. And even the state visit recently. Was such a beautiful experience. I got to go a few days after to the UK, and I got to walk down in front of Buckingham Palace and see the Qatari flags. with the British flags. And that in itself, I think, was such a beautiful, harmonious moment.
I was so lucky to, and I think he's an absolutely great guy, which is the UK ambassador here in Qatar. Just an absolute winner. He's just, I had a friend that was doing the photography that day at one of the dinners, and he was sat at the back on his own, but the ambassador still had time to go and talk to him and say thanks very much for helping him. He wanted to know a bit about him. And just to take time, it really means such a great deal. So I think he's a great guy. But he was telling me the story about how he had the letter and he hand-delivered it to the Emir to say, here's the invitation for King Charles. It was special, and to have him say that. But we have got a special relationship, and it needs we just need to make sure that we keep building on that.
Definitely.
So what's so with this week, what are you looking forward to with this week? Have you got lots of things that's happening?
We've got lots of programs happening. Soon we're going to be announcing the 2025 Year of Culture Partner. So that's going to be announced very soon.
Oh.
Yes, looking forward to it. And all of the great programs that we have.
Excited about this one?
Very excited.
Yeah?
Yeah. And it's going to be quite far, so trips are going to take quite a while, but it's one of the gorgeous things about this initiative is that we get to work with people from different continents around the world.
Yeah. Morocco was a nice one.
It was a very nice one. I've never been to Morocco.
Okay.
But I got to go for a conference that happened there, the Qatar Africa Business Forum.
I saw it. I saw all the social media.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful country. So people were so warm and welcoming. And I'd never been to the country before. So it was definitely a special experience for me to have. And for those coming with us, we had Qatari business owners there. And just for them to have that sort of exposure and to learn from one another, the panels were amazing. And hopefully this year, as soon as we have the announcement...
you can't give us any clues. No, I'm only joking. What's it like working with Sheikha Mayassa? The whole family is fantastic.
Yes.
But what they're doing, what she's doing specifically with the museums, and also her mother with the education side of it, it's phenomenal with what work they're doing to help. But what's it like working with her?
I think Sheikha Mayassa, what's so special about her is that she's such a visionary person. She has a vision of the art scene, the cultural scene, and she has a vision for the youth of Qatar and the people of Qatar to be able to experience that in itself and to provide space for them to be able to express that and have their own voice in the world. She's such a welcoming person. She listens to everyone's story. She encourages, like you were saying about Mr. Ambassador, she takes time to appreciate people and she invests in her team. And for me, it's such an honorable experience being able to contribute to the vision that she has for Qatar and in terms of public art, in terms of exhibitions, in terms of artists, in terms of museums. Most museums are coming from her vision. And to see them sort of initiate and come to life, that's just an amazing experience. She's
got such a desire to make a difference.
Definitely.
Right?
And to give space for us to make a difference.
That's lovely. Yeah, well done. That was a great one. Thank you so much for coming on to celebrate the 90 years of the British Council.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. There's one word that I've got to get from you.
Please.
In one word, what does a British Council mean to you?
Connection. That's the first word that comes to mind, connection. Brings people together, gives them common room to be able to grow. So I would say that the British Council is connection.
Maha, you are one special person. Keep shining.
Thank you.
Keep making a difference. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.